we've got this wagon behind us. We've just done a ton of work to this wagon. And we'll go through incrementally and show you everything that we've done to it. We didn't restore this wagon. John brought this thing to me. He said, hey, I found this car, told me what it was, and I'm like, man, that's a really cool car. It's a 55 Pontiac Safari wagon. Not many, there's not many of them. It's not like the Chevy. They were probably a third the production number of the Chevy, guessing. But he brought this car and it was sharp. I mean, it was really sharp. The old guy bought it out of a collection and it looked like this. We didn't do the restoration on the body. All we did was we did some upgrades to the chassis and to the engine and some interior stuff. But the car itself is a super rust-free car. I'm sure it's from Arizona or Texas or someplace where it never rains and it's not no salt, no snow. I mean, it's really a solid rust-free piece. It's just the perfect car to start with. So it was really pretty easy for us. We didn't have to do any paint work. We didn't have to do any body work. And everybody should know that that's the log jam for us. As soon as it has to be painted or go into the body shop, there it is. That's it. That's our log jam. It's one of my favorites. I mean, it's just a beautiful, classy car to look at. I mean, it's really comfortable to drive. The colors are fantastic. All the chrome and trim. I mean, it just screams 50s. I like it a little better than the Chevy because it's so different, to be honest with you. I guarantee when he goes to a car show, there won't be more than his there. Yeah, I'm sure it's been to a couple of car shows now. It's back. We're just working a couple little bugs out. These things, when we do them, it's no different than a house. We build them, we drive them, and then we expect the punch list in a couple 100 miles. And that's what we're doing now, is we just finished a couple little odds and ends on it. So under the hood, it's typical formula for us. It's an LS powered Pontiac. It's an LS3 crate engine, 430 horsepower. This wasn't designed to be a race car, it's a cruiser. But you can see the Willwood, the upgraded power brakes that are there. We did put the Pontiac valve covers on it so it looked a little more traditional, a little bit anyway. C&R built us a custom cooling system for the car. It has a brushless electric fan. The thing doesn't run hot, it does everything well, the air conditioning works great. But again, you can see the car. We didn't paint the firewall, we didn't paint the fender wells. That's how nice this car was when we started. All we did was we retrofitted all of the upgraded parts. And again, it's very non-hot rod. We like things to look like the factory put them together. And that's kind of where we were going with all of this. And if you pay attention to all of the detail, the fit and finish on everything, the guys did a great job putting this thing together. There's little covers that have been made and the dimple dies in the back to cover up lines coming through the firewall. There's a lot of care that goes into making one of these look like it's supposed to. And I think they did a great job with this one. As with a lot of our high-end builds, we use the shot wheels most of the time. In fact, I think I'm buying stock and shot. We just paid for 2 sets of shot wheels that are custom made for the Corvettes we're doing. But anyway, this is a beautiful wheel. It's got the knockoff on it. These guys do a first-class job every time. It's got the Willwood brakes on it. If you haven't noticed yet, it is a Morrison chassis. So this car, like I said, I didn't kind of elaborate on what it was, but there's a lot of things done to this car. The Pontiac engine, you can see, not Pontiac engine, the Pontiac Blue engine that's right here, coupled to the 4L65 transmission. You can see the custom exhaust system, it's all stainless. You can start to see the Morrison chassis, the flat floor in the car. The car, until we messed with it, had never been off the chassis. So this floor is completely original. Probably, if it's not original undercoating, it's way older than I am. But the 9-inch Ford, this one is a 4-link rear suspension. The IRS we did not do on this car, and frankly didn't need it. We weren't looking for that much performance. The aluminum drive shaft, the custom-made gas tank. This is a Rock Valley gas tank that we actually changed the fuel pump and put a different type of fuel pump in. Again, the stainless steel exhaust system coming out the back. Typical Morrison chassis. It's got strange shocks on it. Willwoods on all 4 corners, of course. We have anti-roll bars front and rear. You can see all the brake line detail that's inside here, the different adjustments with the anti-roll bar. The emergency brake is done with an electric device, and it works really well. You just push a button and lock the emergency brake. You can see that there's a little bit of sound deadening and insulation that's put in where the mufflers are. There's more under the carpet. In the front, you can see all of the tubular control arms, again, the strange coilovers in the front, and a roll bar here. Rack and pinion steering. They use a Detroit speed steering rack, which nothing wrong with that. It's just a lot of detail. And if you notice, this car is a little dirty. There's actually dirt in the wheel wells and there's dirt on the frame rail. John drives this car. This car was not intended to be a trailer queen. It's intended to be driven. And he's driven it a lot, and he intends to drive it a lot more. He does all of his cars. We've done another GTO for him as well, and he drives the crap out of that car. But we're going to take this for a ride, and the Morrison chassis is a real treat to go for a ride in. The LS engine, you know, everybody thinks, well, it's only 430 horsepower. And by today's standards, 430 horsepower is not a ton of money, but I'll tell you right now, this thing will blow the doors off of any stock GTO they ever made. The inside of the car, a lot of it's stock, but I mean, the steering wheel is something John actually researched and found in the insert in the steering wheel. It came from somebody in Oregon, I think. The console we made, all of the stereo stuff and the backup camera and everything, we did that. But you got to really look at this car and all the detail that's in it, and it's typical 50s stuff. I mean, right down to the hood ornament. The hood ornament is really cool, but it was typical of a hood ornament from the 50s in a Pontiac, and I love it. I mean, it doesn't matter how many I see, it's still the coolest thing I've seen in a long time. But, and again, this one's got the Morrison chassis. It doesn't drive at all like it would have originally. I mean, before it was just a big box of shit, and now the thing's pretty much like driving a great big Corvette. The 430 horsepower engine is really nicely powered for this car. You can run it hard and it'll move well. But again, the thing just handles really nice. It's nice and smooth. You can hear the engine roaring pretty good. The air conditioning's on. It's nice and cool in here. Lots of insulation done to it. And it's nice and smooth. I mean, it's so cool to drive something from the 50s that drives like something from 2024. The engine is tuned and it always picks up a little bit more than it does out of the box. Not that they don't work well out of the box, they're okay out of the box, but it's just a little bit better with a tweak or two. The brakes on this car are exceptional. I can't remember where we got the booster. I think it's from a Corvette, a C5 Corvette if I'm not mistaken. But the brakes and the pedal feel and everything on it is just outstanding. There's a reason we use Morrison in so many things. It's because their shit is really good. And they're just really, really good people to deal with. I mean, they care about what they're selling you. They stand behind the product that they sell you. And the stuff is just right. This is a custom frame. This isn't even something like a Chevelle or a Corvette. They make 100 of them. And it's real simple for them to just place an order and they ship us the frames. Like the Corvettes, we order those like there's no tomorrow. But this was a custom frame, so this frame actually required a lot of measurement. It takes Clarence probably 2 days to measure everything completely detailed and make sure that we have everything where it needs to be. And the installation was relatively painless on this. I mean, it's not quick, don't get me wrong, but the bumpers all were within reason where they needed to be. All the body mounts were really right where they needed to be. The shape of the chassis was right. I mean, and again, that's back to why we deal with these people as much as we do. They do it right. And Shot Wheels is the same way. The GMLS engine is hard to beat. It's just, we've kind of got a formula together on the things that we like to use. And it's the old saying, if it isn't broken, don't fix it. So that's kind of where we've been on this.